what if they opened a store that was kind of like across town from you?
Oh, Ricky and I.
Yes, you two.
Ooh, what if Ricky and I
How would you feel about
open a store down the street from
Would you help them? Would you?
Ooh, let's hear it.
This is kind of a not a touchy subject, but this is an interesting subject, and I'll tell you why. So if there's have been people that I've known that have opened stores nearby to me, Yes, and what happens is it changes the dynamic sometimes of a friendship.
Oh boy!
Into now you're competitors. Competitor relationship, whether you're Burger King and McDonald's or Coke and Pepsi or anything, there's trade secrets. It's sometimes it's not that you're enemies, right? It does change sometimes the dynamic of that. Yeah. What I've always tried. So, like an example. Is in Connecticut, there was a video game store, and I'm not going to mention any names.
Yeah, of course.
Was a guy that I knew, more of an acquaintance. We knew each other well. Like we talked to each other, we had interactions, and we told each other at one point, like, hey, let's just make sure we keep our distances. He had a store that was probably like 30 minutes away from me. I had one on a main quarter. He was a couple towns over. At some point, he opened up a store literally like a mile down the road from me, and I messaged him, and I was like, dude. That's like, why did you do that? Yeah. Like, why?
What'd he say?
And he was like, he's like, I couldn't find another place. I had to go a mile down the road. And he would come into my shop. He would buy like inventory for himself. And I was like, dude, this like kind of changes the dynamic.
Yeah.
Like you got to stick to yourself now. And he only lasted about a year before he then closed that shop down. And I was like, okay.
Dropping the mic.
Yeah.
But he still has his other store, which is really successful.
Yeah.
And we've talked since then. Okay. So we're not like blood enemies. Like they hate each other. And we've talked about it. And I was like, and he was like, hey, listen, he explained to me that he had no choice but to open the store there. And I was like, I don't know, dude. There's like thousands of places you could have put this store. I think even though we knew each other, he was like, oh, I'm going to put a store right next to you. Yeah. And it was like, okay, now we're competitors. Now I have to compete against you. You're trying to take business from me, which is essentially taking business potentially off, plate of my family, right? So it does change the dynamic. If you guys were to open a store or something, if that's something you have in mind.
No. I just wanted to see what your opinion was.
Chris just wanted to ruffle your feathers a little bit.
I love it.
But the thing is just space, right? And how far is space, right? Like, I don't know, in a big city like LA, you could probably be 15, 20 minutes away and you're in a different market. Yeah, like Costa Mesa is a different market.
It's not like a Starbucks where 98% of the world is walking around looking for a coffee. You know, in the retro game world, you're probably going to find 6% of the people in Costa Mesa that are out looking for video games. So
and like you're literally 15 minutes away and you're in a different market. So space matters, right? Now, if you opened up a mile down the road from me, I'd be like, come on, guys. Really? Guys. Like that's
we wouldn't,
messed
bro.
Up.
Dang,
He's like, damn, we got to cancel the lease.
I actually just saw it in his eyes. I just saw that in your eyes, like almost like a little bit of sadness, like you just mentally told me, don't you ever open a store around me.
Now, at the same time, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say this. I have done the opposite, where I have opened a store directly down the street from a competitor. Guy I never met in my life. It's a big name franchise.
Now he tells us. By the way, I did that twice.
Now I did it with that intention. I don't know that guy. I'm not friends with him. Yeah. My understanding was he was not a collector. He came in purely as like a reseller. This is in Connecticut, not in California here.
What a
big franchise. No, but we actually didn't really get along. Yeah. We never met. We've never met, but we were like direct competitors. And I was like, you know what? I want to be the best video game store in Connecticut. I'm going to open up a store right down the road from you. And we've competed against each other for probably like 7 years now. We're both still in business. Yeah. So we operate next to each other and still do good sales. So there's no like hate, but that was a point where I was like, okay, I don't know you though. That's the difference.
Right. I think that's what brings the dynamic a little bit different.
It does. It changes it.
And I think that's the best way for us to end the show today is just Chris's actual scumbag.
Honestly, he's a beautiful scumbag.
I love, to me, it's business. I love business. And being competitors is part of business. It's also another reason, like, I don't go out in LA and I don't know too many of the store owners out here. I know like the Game Tower guys, if I can mention a name.
Yeah, of
like
course.
Those guys are awesome.
They're great guys.
Right?
We love them.
Those guys are awesome. So like, would I ever open a store next to them? No. I know those guys would never do that. But I don't know. Business is business. I'll just say that.
All right, if you're a scumbag, leave a comment down below. But yeah, let's get out of here. I mean, we got to get out of here. We got the rest of the day. We got more of these coming. Chris,
thank you for being here.
Chris, are you going to pop around these more often?
I would love to.
Okay.
I'd love to be on
Ricky, we give a hand for everybody here.
Yeah. Hey, so we're not opening up a store?
Cancel the lease.
It was right down the street.
He's like, Aaron's like, I just signed it.
All right, we're out here. Adios, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.